Not the noise. Hello, people. How you doing today? And give me a minute. We're just getting set up here, and I'm going to say hi to everybody in a minute. Who's ever here so far? We appreciate you being here early,
Yeah, thank
and
you.
we're going to have 1 second. Okay, I put that other screen off, and now we can say the truth is here, and you kind of like the truth. You really messed up my body. Don't put 100 messages like that, please. I don't want to block you. Tony Silo, how you doing? Okay, let's see. Handguns. I think that's Renee. I like what best mob show on YouTube, and others are hosted by. Well, Lance, how you doing? Appreciate it. Good to see you again. Hey, some of you guys have been here last week. I gave you wrenches, so please respect those wrenches. Don't start blocking people because I'll know and I'll just take them away. Grambino, how you doing? Good to see you here. Joe Root, how you doing? Anthony H. Anthony, you made a good point in here. I'm going to talk to you about. I'll talk during in the show about you saying that you went over to Smoking Guns and read those 302s by Sammy Gravano. More people should do it, and I like what you said on it. You learn a lot just by looking at those damn things. What a liar he is.
Yeah.
Jeff Nadu, how you doing? Glad I'll drop you the link in a little bit, Jeff, if you're interested in coming up. David, how you doing? Okay, let's see. Tony B, it's good to see you here, Tony. Rah rah. Angelo, the right winger, it's good to see you here. Okay, let's see. The real Argos here. It's good to see you here, my man. Joe Everman. Steve Morinello. Good to see you here, Steve. I don't know if you were here last show. Oh, Angel Gotti. Hey, people, when this tonight at 9 o'clock, Angel's going to be doing a show too, and she's going to be talking about the fight. She's going to. A lot of people know about the fight because there's been some advertisement out there, but she's going to give you the details you do not have. So that's at 9 o'clock. That's probably after most likely after this show, or I'll just stay on and go up against Angel. We'll just, what do you think, Angel? Just kidding, Angel. Okay. Finn Creek, it's good to see you here. As long as you behave, I don't care. Okay. Stone Sealer, it's good to see you here, my man. Thank you so much for coming on. Bye. Jay Watts, shout out from Australia. Of course, Australia. Arlene Morlino, how you doing? Well, you know what's funny, guys? There was only a couple people here, and I looked down, and all of a sudden, all these people have popped in. Isn't that funny how quick that happens?
Yeah, it looked like that, we started the show, and then at least my notification didn't occur to about a minute in, so maybe that's what happened.
Joy Faraci, how are you doing? And as I say, every time we do a show, it is dedicated to your brother. Okay. Pollock, it's good to see you, my man. Full green light. Thank you for coming by. Roy Munson. He's related to Roy Munson's a character, but he's related anyway. Who remembers the great Thurman Munson?
One of the best catchers ever.
Already, it's good to see you here, my man. It's kind of funny. Like a lot of people here, like last year, they want to go into other people's how people's mentality is now.
Yeah.
It's good. You should be able to go wherever you want. Can't Dave? Exactly. How you doing, Jane? It's good to see you here, Jane. Oh my gosh, Gunsmoke is good. Be a good boy, Gunsmoke. Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Tony B, Joy Faraci, you had me thinking the other 2 nights. If the bodies were buried in Gravano's farmhouse, but we realized it was in Pennsylvania. Yeah, he had his house in Pennsylvania, Sammy Gravano. Okay. Golf. Okay, so we're through these names. Kelly just jumped in. Kelly, how you doing? Okay. We want to talk about a few things, but first of all, I'm going to drop the link in a couple minutes. Kelly just jumped in. Is that your computer?
Yeah.
Okay. So Todd Father, it's good to see you here. I went on Todd Father's show the other day. Please, Todd Father, I'm going to give you a wrench, and if you like Todd Father, you can put your link in there. Todd Father has a pleasant show. You go out and hang out with him in the morning, and it's a nice show. I just added you as a moderator, Todd Father. Please put your link in there, or if somebody else could put it in there for him, I'd appreciate it. If you guys have any other people that you like and you want to put your links in there, put them in there. Kelly, okay. Anthony, okay. Let's see. Heat Merchant. How you doing, Heat Merchant? Teddy, Melbourne, Australia, of course. Okay, listen, people. If we had issues in the past, as long as you're respectful to this show, and if you're respectful to Angel Gotti, and if you want to put stuff to the side, just do it. But let's just keep it like that. Everybody deserves a second chance. God knows I got enough of them in life. But just be respectful. That's all I ask. And guys, if they're not respectful, put them on timeout first. And then after timeout, if they come back and they're still being bad, just block them. Don't even play around. Okay. I'm going to drop a link. And this one is for, well, they know who it's for. If you can grab that, because this gentleman has reached out to Angel in her show a couple times in the last few days. He's reached out to me, and we decided to put all our hatred, our anger to the side. And I don't care. It's none of my business who people have on their show. If they don't attack this show, if they don't attack Angel, I got no problem with it. Otherwise, but I'm glad Jeff's here because Jeff, I really appreciate you coming by. Thank you.
Hey, Jeff, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for having me, guys. Thanks.
Sure.
And Jeff, I'm going to ask you a question. Like you talked to me the other day, and we were talking about why is it important for us, our shows, to all get together instead of all this bickering?
I think because when you create content, everybody benefits off each other, right? The more people that do content, the most important thing to a video is the things that are on the right side of the video, recommended videos, next up, those sort of things. Right. And an algorithm is something that essentially takes all of your interest and puts it all into one and grabs the things that you might like. So if someone does a mob show like myself and maybe one of the commenters watches me, they may be more inclined to watch you or OC Shorts or Mikey Scars or Angel or whoever. So it's all an ecosystem that if you're a creator, fighting back and forth with each other doesn't really make sense. We've all had our issues with each other, but in the end, I think for me, I just enjoy this kind of stuff. Maybe we get a little deep sometimes, but it's important that we all, I think, are cool in the end.
Yes, and I'm not going to attack anybody that doesn't attack me, and I don't care. Is what it comes down to. And James, what do you think about that?
No, I agree that we need to be working together because of there's a lot of the beefs. I get it, and part of it's for entertainment, but there's a lot more benefit of working together. What I see when you work together, like for example, for our show, we get a lot of referral. We see the people that watch our show where they come from and the other shows that they watch. And for example, yeah. Jeff, you're always one of the, top, 2 or 3 shows that people come from. So we get a lot of the people that watch you to our show and hopefully vice versa. So, it's just that a lot of our people watch different shows.
And NYC Subway says you guys are all frauds. Thank you. Do not time him out. You're welcome here anytime, my man, as long as you keep it respectful. If you're going to call us frauds, do it respectfully, please.
How are we frauds? I don't even know what that means.
Hey, people, I'm going to play something, and then I'm going to talk to Jeff about it. This is a short that was just created. We haven't put it up yet. It's been created by James, and I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to talk to Jeff about it. And we're going to talk about that horrible show on TV. I want to be a mob boss, whatever it's called. And I'm going to put this up first, Jeff. What do you think about the underboss there, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you create something to these levels, especially on Netflix, I think it's important that you at least do a bit of research. I'm fascinated that all you have to look. I know Wikipedia is quite popular on some people in this genre. All you have to do, I mean, any of these references, he was never even a made member of that family, let alone a higher up. I think it's laughable, but they try to make these guys look bigger than they are.
Well, here we go. We're gonna. Okay, I guess that picture just wants to stay there. It won't start. The hell with it. Okay, but isn't it amazing though that they got Bobby Luisi as an underboss of the Patriarca family? And we were talking about this. He had to go down to Philadelphia, and he had to get made by what was it, Natalie? And at that time was the boss, and
right.
And Joey Merlino was really the boss, but Natalie
Casey was there. Yeah, the three of them.
Yeah, it's.
Do you?
I mean, go ahead.
What do you find those shows right now? We were talking about it. Like I think you and I may have been talking about it already, Jeff. But they would talk. It's like an assassination of John Gotti because of the continuous attacks on him. It's okay if you don't like John Gotti, that's understandable. But do you think the feds are behind these shows at all with these with giving a lot of information to like Netflix?
Well, I think they're absolutely behind it. I think what we have to remember when you see a video on Netflix, all the people that are in this chat right now, us creators, most of the people that watch these videos, we have a good understanding of the world of this. We know people that a lot of people don't know, but most people don't know much about John Gotti. And I think the goal for them is they're trying to teach people about these infamous individuals or who they may deem as infamous individuals. We've all heard the same stories about John Gotti. And yeah, I think if you watch these documentaries, the people that they interview are generally George Gabriel, Bruce Mao, Ed McDonald. They're always the same people, the individuals that, put these people in jail. So, yeah, I mean, they're always going to lead.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I see. The feds kicked him out of here. They didn't want him talking. He'll be back. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But that's definitely one of the. Yeah, I definitely believe it's. We even heard that where the feds would have those shows. You remember the America's Most Wanted and those shows, and they would actually ask a show to do a story on certain people. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of manipulation, and so unfortunately, you're not getting a true narrative of what's happening. And like Jeff said, that the regular Joe out there doesn't know any different.
Well, I think also. I apologize.
We thought the feds kicked you out, Jeff. We thought the feds would.
Oh yeah, well I'm sure they're watching my house at this point. But yeah, look, again, that's I think why they do these things. That said, I think it's also these companies are so fucking cheap. They don't want to pay anybody to go on these documentaries. Look, the truth is, without some of the people that they have talking about these people, they wouldn't have a documentary. So if you're not going to pay the highest level people, they're not going to come on the show. And I think that's why we saw people like Salvatore Polisi on there, because Sal is just looking to spread his story. I don't even know if he gets paid. So for me, that's another issue. They don't pay people. They don't put a lot of effort into these. I mean, why is the show called How to Be a Mob Boss when they're talking about Pablo Escobar? Pablo Escobar was not in the mafia. He was never. He's a drug lord. He's not a mafia boss. I don't know.
And a big difference between we did a video because James did a lot of research on who was it, Lucas, James?
Frank Lucas, and yeah, he was an informant, and yeah, and a lot of people know that, but he put away his brother, and also a lot of his statements were embellished, of how big he was. He was big, but he probably was like a tenth of the size that he claimed to have. He's had this net worth, he said 52 million or whatever. And the reality
Frank
was
Lucas
probably
was in that?
10. Yeah.
Wow.
They
I
did
didn't
an
see it.
episode on that, just on Frank Lucas.
Okay.
And they made
wow,
him
I didn't know
into,
that.
yeah, like the movie made him into a much bigger, because he wasn't who's a bumpy
Yeah, Bumpy Johnson was definitely a big
Look,
deal. And they said he wasn't really the driver for 15 years for Bumpy Johnson
Frank
either.
Matthews was the king. He was the king of American drug trade. I mean, not Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas was getting his drugs from Frank Matthews. So
yes.
yeah, I don't know where they come up with this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think they talk about Frank Matthews because Frank Matthews made the DEA and the FBI look very bad because he basically escaped and went into the wind. So they don't want to make that known to a lot of people.
Right.
Hey, we got a person here that you're fans of. Lee, please, D-Truth, Lee, please convince Jeff Nadu to unblock me. Perhaps this will help his show.
Well, I'll give that some thought. Listen, as I get older, I just don't deal with nonsense. I just try to get away from it. This genre can be very toxic. But you know what? The truth, I'll consider that. I'll go in and do that.
And some people, Jane says, some people are here to cause trouble. They don't care about content. Yes, but you know what? I'm going to be honest. Think about this, though. The shows that are drama attack channels are fading away. Have people noticed that? They're fading away.
Yeah, I think people they have what they like, and some people like that stuff, some people don't. Yeah. But I think this content is probably more long-term.
Okay, Anthony said something good. Was it you, Anthony? Anthony said that he went on to and read 302s on Smoking Guns of Sammy Gravano's. And he's a Sammy Gravano fan, but after he read them, and he just did this, he didn't realize how much different Sammy's stories are from those 302s. And he said that he's not a Sammy fan no more because when he's telling the story, it sounds exciting, but when you read those 302s, you realize there's nothing exciting about his 302s, that the guy was pretty ruthless. And but that was good. And people should go to the Smoking Gun, and you can read all of the stuff on Sammy Gravano that he gave the FBI. It's all there.
I did a video on Gravano, and I called out he's always wanted to bring up he did 19 murders. When in reality, he didn't do 19 murders. And in reality, it's probably only did 2 murders. He's another one that tries to look. I'm in a tiff right now with a certain informant. He's not very happy with me. And one of the issues behind it is he doesn't think that I've called him what he thinks he is. He thinks he's a lot bigger than what I've said that he is. And I think that's what some of these depraved people think. They're all educating kids, but they don't want anyone to say they weren't tough in the streets. And Sammy continues to say that he killed 19 people. But in reality, he only killed 2.
But I think Sammy did something that's a little bit sicker than murder. And that's sitting in a room and watching friends get blasted in the head. People that he grew up with.
Yeah, it's quite.
It's like a couple of these guys he grew up with in the streets when they were kids. And he literally invited them to their death and watched them get killed.
Right.
To me, that's almost the same as pulling the trigger.
Sure.
Because they're your friends. How can you do it? 100%. Mentally, if I did that, I don't think I'd ever be the same watching it one time, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I will also say, I mean, I don't want to be kind of two-faced either because I did interview Sammy Gravano. I spoke to him several times, and I will say this about him, and this is, I think, the sociopath that he is. He's a very manipulative individual. I will tell you, Lee, that I found him to be incredibly nice, at least to me. But I think what he was trying to do is almost rock me to sleep a little bit, really manipulate me. And there was certain backdoor, hey, we don't want this to be asked. We don't want this to be asked. So I kind of just took what I could get out of it. And look, it ended up being my most profitable show I've ever done. However, I almost wish it would be a no holds barred thing where we could ask him things. But he definitely rocked people to sleep. I'll put him that way.
Hey, Jeff, I want to read this to you. I want to read Lee Cole. Why are you making fun of Bobby Luisi? You acted like you were his buddy when you interviewed him twice. What happened? You don't like him no more? Wow, Lee, make up your mind. Just my opinion. Did I just make fun of him by any of the statements I just made?
No, this
No.
was about Netflix. It's a show that the production company said that he was the underboss of the Patriarca family, and I'm sure Bobby Luisi would be the first to say that's not true.
And on top of that, just so you do know, Italian Stallion, because we interview people, don't make them our friends. People throw the friend
Right.
word around here pretty like, oh, you talk to him and you're his friend now. No, no. I got very few friends on YouTube. Maybe my hand right there can count my friends. And I can guarantee you Bobby Luisi is not one of my friends. Uh,
Yeah.
so if that answers it, Stallion, if you feel better with that answer, I hope so. If you don't, oh well.
I don't think I think we just kind of we were more laughing at the mistake they made. I think Bobby
Yeah.
would probably laugh at that. I mean, I think
Yeah.
he doesn't have control over. That's another thing. He doesn't have control over the editing. I'm sure he would tell you he wasn't the underboss of any family. But that's their creative liberty.
Yeah. Did you notice that you look at the production of it, and I was thinking about it, and like you said, Jeff, it was very. They didn't spend a lot of money. I would almost think maybe they spent more money on the animation part of it. There was animation
Yeah.
in it, and because you get 6 or 7 people they talk to. Basically, what I believe they do, they just bring in someone. They say, "Hey, let's interview you." They may talk to him for an hour, and then they get 3 minutes of content and put it in there. And then the other part is they have a narrator, and then they just use a bunch of stock images that's been out there. I don't think the amount of money they spend is that much, and my understanding is that they don't want to pay for for the folks to come in that have the knowledge. So
Right.
someone like Bobby Luisi, they may only give them a $500 or whatever.
No, no. It's not. See, you got to understand. By law, it used to be $1,200. They have to pay them by law because
Yeah, the
that's
union.
negotiated.
Yeah,
That's
if there
union
was.
negotiate. Now they just went on strike and came, so that may have changed that rate, but it was $1,200. I know this because I went on a couple shows, and they have to pay you. It used to be they could put extras out in the field, and now if you put extras out in the field, you have to pay each one of them. It's just what the rules are now in Hollywood. Uh,
Yeah,
just think
and
about all
part
the
of it is what they consider a documentary, right? So they consider those actors, or is it there may be loopholes, but I think you're definitely right, Lee. There's a minimum.
Anthony H says, everyone check out the Smoking Gun and read Gravano's 302s. They're crazy and sickening, and a different, entire different way of getting this kind of content. Yes. And what do you think when he says, now Anthony is a guy that's been a supporter of Sammy Gravano, and he's being honest, Jeff. He's going over there, he read them, and he said, you know something? That's not what Sammy said. Should more people do stuff like that, you think?
I think I would strongly advise anybody to do their own research on these types of people that, again, I've always said I do shows. I've done shows on all these cooperators, and I've done my own shows on them. I've done one on John Aylett. I've done one on Mikey Scars. I've done them all. Gene, Dominic. I think a lot of them are like, for instance, Mikey Scars, very well spoken. I love listening to him, but there are some that are a little bit more hard to believe. And I feel like for me, I want to do my own research. I don't want to just take what they write and read and say. So yeah, I would urge anyone, if you have a real interest in this, go read some of the things that they said, because his stuff has changed a lot over the years. I mean, 20 years ago when he was speaking to Diane Sawyer, he'll say a lot of different things than he will say now. And I think that's where, look, the internet's a smart place. They call this stuff out, and that's why you have to do your own research. But yeah, Sammy's he's an interesting character. I think he's trying to make as much money as he can, and I don't think he has much time left, probably.
Yeah,
and he's trying to get what he can out of it.
Did you see my Weekend at Sammy's poster?
I don't believe I have. No.
Okay. Well, we took the Bernie and replaced it with Sammy, and one end Karen's holding him up, and the other end Gerard's holding him up. It's on my
Ah,
community page. It's quite funny.
I see. How's your head
So,
feel? Didn't you get smacked in the head by Gerard?
no, according to Sammy, I got smacked around. Like
Okay.
it was a couple hours. They were just smacking me all over the lot.
I will say, I think he is he was one of the nicest people I've met on here. But I think, as I know, it's all about manipulation, and he got me in
And
as
he
his
says
friend
that
for a few hours.
he says, and you heard what he said, Jeff. He said that if he met me and I pulled up on him in front of Tallies, did you hear what he said? I would say, "Hey, Lee Cole, how you doing? Come in and see me." And as I'm in Tallies talking to Lee Cole, my guys will be going in the back to get the body bag.
Right.
He literally said this on his show a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
And
Well,
it's like,
he's no different than this lunatic they're about to let out. I mean, this is a guy who's killed dozens of people, and we're going to freely let him out of prison. Look, there are certain people that I believe probably belong in prison. Sammy Gravano is one of them. I've said on record, I think Gene Borello belongs in prison. There are people that I think need to cool their heels at certain points, and I don't know why we make deals with some of these people.
Yeah, and it's very weird how the laws were before 1987, and so it was actually better to get a life bid like Anthony Center.
But James, here's my issue, and this is something that I want to point out.
Yeah,
this is not just due to the law. I mean, if you look into, for instance, the Sicilian connections and some of the heroin deals back in the day, there's a person who used to be around Vinny Basciano. His name is Ace Aiello. His father was named Antonino Aiello. Antonino was pinched in the early 80s and got a life sentence. You know where he sits still? Prison. And there's no thought that he'll ever get out. My whole thing as well is, if you're going to let Mr. Center out, how do you justify leaving Mr. Borelli in prison and Mr. Testa in prison?
Right.
It just, there's something
they
going
said
on.
Borelli had a 150-year sentence, so based on the guidelines, it's just 2/3 of the sentence is 100 years. So they're trying to use that excuse, but then they freely they're going to let also Joey Testa out most likely. So they'll freely do that, but then you have Vinny Asaro and different people. I'm not Vinny Asaro. I'm sorry, Vic Amuso and some that are very sick.
Yeah,
they're not going to let them out, and it's just strange that they've got people that have done a quarter of what Anthony Center did, and they're not going to let them out.
I mean, James, think of it like this. I think one of the real travesties, and look, I'm not saying that Frank Licasio was not a mobster, because we all know that he was, but the fact that he died in federal prison after basically being in a room where someone said something, and the government basically said to him, "Hey, why didn't you speak up and stop that?"
Yeah.
And it's like, well, because I didn't say anything. I was just there. They hit him with a murder conspiracy, and he died in prison.
Right. And he didn't even do any of it. He never, he wasn't a violent person. But then the thing is that they like, they were able to say, oh, well, we have the predicate thing. Because the thing is with RICO, you don't even have to be the one to do it. Just if you're said that you're a underboss or part of the administration, then that's what happened. Look at Fat Tony. He wasn't even the real boss, and they convicted him on the commission trial.
And remember, parole is not a automatic get out of jail free immediately. Parole, there are people that have parole, they'll go 10 times before they get released. So again, wouldn't this guy be last on the list, right? It's crazy that they're just so willing to say, okay, go ahead back into society. I mean, I'll ask most people, it'd be kind of wild having him live next door to you, wouldn't it? I mean,
yeah. And they're young, they're just 68, and that's relatively young when you. And I know they've been in 35 years, but 68 years old. Sammy's 78, and he's still.
How old are you, Lee? You're what, 75, Lee?
Huh?
You're what, 75?
Yeah. Okay. Look, I'm the best looking 75-year-old you'll ever see.
Yes.
But anyway, I want to ask you another question. You made a statement, Jeff, and I want you to stand by this.
Right.
If you want to. You said that you feel that that he's getting out because he may have given up some more evidence.
Yeah, I think I don't know that we're not going to see him on a stand or anything, but yeah, I have my wonder, and I think if you have any knowledge of the court system and the federal prison system, you should also wonder yourself, what did I just say? This is a person who was convicted of not 1, not 2, not 5, not 9, not 8, but 10 murders. Not one. It's not like he might have killed someone. This guy was a depraved person who demembered people. Like, it wasn't just like he boom, 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 I'm out. No. They spent time on this. They ate pizza while they were doing it. I think
They
it's
all and Jeff, they also robbed patrons that were, if the patron came in and said the wrong word to him, they would kill him. And also, there was a father and son that were not part of the mob. Their son disappeared. They went to the bar looking for their son. These are innocent people. They brought him in the bar, and the father and son was never seen again. So basically, that clique right there took out 3 people to kill the whole family, kill the men and the whole family.
Well, Lee, I think also it does set an interesting precedent to the other people that James talked about. If I'm a defense attorney of Victor Amuso or Vic Arena or, whoever, I'm going to say, well, how was he getting out? Like, what about us?
Yeah, they'll use the excuse, oh, well, the laws were different pre-1987, but that's just an excuse in my opinion, but that's what they'll say.
Yes. By the way, I'm not saying the demember word because I don't want to get deplatformed. That's not a word YouTube like. Also, Tony Silo, we've moved on from that. Let's try to keep the past in the past. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah. All that stuff. And Tony, Jeff and I had a good conversation too, and maybe you and him can too. But
I will say, Tony Silo, I'm not sure if I've ever met you, but you had one of that DV boy comment is one of the funnier things ever said on here, and I've been on here a long time, so I find you pretty funny personally.
See, you find him funny, but you find me funny looking, which is kind of messed up.
Yeah. Hey, thanks everyone for being here. Friday nights are usually slow. We're like 236 or whatever. So that's very nice turnout. We haven't been doing live, so that's kind of nice.
It's all about the number. It's all about the number.
Yeah, it's all about that. And if people want to donate, send me money, go ahead and do it. Because if you don't, I got to shut this down. I'm not gonna. You got to pay me. Okay.
I finally got through all 6 episodes of How to Become a Mob Boss. Overall, I was not impressed, and I have to give it a D. The concept was interesting, looking at the business side of these gangsters, but the series was full of factual errors. Interesting that 2 of the major criminals used as models of successful criminals were informants, Frank Lucas and Whitey Bulger. A couple of errors of note. Bobby Luisi is interviewed, and he's listed as the former underboss of the Patriarca family. We know that he was a capo in a Philly crew based in Boston. Also, the show recreates the hit on Frank DeChico and says it was done by Zips and that they bombed the wrong car. That's all nonsense. Interesting how they do an episode on John Gotti as being who not to emulate because he was out in the public eye, but they praise both Pablo Escobar and Al Capone for doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's such a great point. I mean, listen, Pablo Escobar was a complete lunatic. I mean, he blew up passenger jets. Think about that.
He's a terrorist.
Yeah, and listen, I get there are many Colombians that praise Pablo Escobar because they hate the government and they want to side with a person like that. But again, I think it's clear the media hate John Gotti. They just do. But they also know that putting him in everything is very profitable as well. Look, we all know this. Putting John Gotti's name in a title on YouTube is quite good for everyone. People enjoy hearing about him, what he likes to eat, what he did in his free time. Like, people like to read and hear about him. But yeah, to compare him and not to Al Capone was more out there than anyone. He was very ostentatious.
He killed 8 men. He killed 8 men in a garage. Yeah. And on top of that, people don't realize that Al Capone went to prison in his early 30s. And when he got out, he died of syphilis. He wasn't this long-term gangster. He was only in power for 4 years. And it was a very short 4 years. but it was a bloody 4 years. I mean, people can't imagine how bloody that was with the wars back then. Uh, he was a psychopath. There's no doubt about that. But his career was short, wasn't it, Jeff? Very short career out there.
Yeah, it definitely was. And listen, Al took the, when he ran the outfit, they were more of a gang, right? They weren't an organized mafia family,
Right.
but he definitely had a wild rise. I mean, he wasn't even from Chicago, but my whole thing with Al Capone, I mean, he had 60% of the Chicago police force on the payroll. I mean, that is incredible power. But those were different times too. I'm sure if you put John Gotti back in those times, he's a lot more successful. It didn't help that the RICO Act really was destructive to the mafia.
Yeah,
the RICO Act just shut the RICO Act just shuts everything down. And we're going to get talking to. I'm sorry, James. If you want to say what you want to say, well, we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, James. Say what you were going to say. I'll shut up.
No. I was just going to say that based on we're going to be doing a show about this, but have you noticed how if you remember back when Gotti was put away, convicted, and you remember when Sammy Gravano was made, when it was found out that he cooperated, and you would see the New York Times, the Post, even Dallas where I was at, and Sammy Gravano was probably the most hated guy in the country at the time. And, you had a picture of him as a rat and all that. And Gotti was looked at as, kind of this working man hero. He wasn't, obviously, but that's what he was looked at. And now it's like the roles have reversed, 20 years later.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's sorry.
I'm dropping a link. I'm dropping a link. If anybody wants to come up and talk to Jeff and James, they're the smarter part of this trio up here right now. I'm just the guy that pretends I'm smart. Okay. I want to ask you another thing. This whole thing going on up in Goshen, do you find a kind of a strange situation? How do you find this, Jeff? These guys were running around threatening people on video cameras and stuff. They weren't too bright, were they?
No, I wouldn't say they were particularly smart people. No, I think the mafia is today very boisterous, right? I mean, they're secret, but they are boisterous. I mean, you've had Michael Mancuso do some strange things. Joe Lanny, I mean, has been incredibly strange recently in doing some of the things he's doing. I mean, you have to look into this indictment, and I know that there are times, Lee, where we think of the mafia as regal, that they didn't hurt citizens, things like that, but this indictment is quite disgusting, quite honestly. I mean, there are just some really brutal things in it. I'm talking about beating up women, extorting mom and pop businesses, doing very little to help them, just demanding money. And if you don't do it, we're going to light it on fire. Just some real kind of out there things. And Joe was a guy that, when you're a captain, which they say he is, he's going into restaurants and saying, do you know who I am? I'm in the Gambino family. This is not the type of things you should be saying. You got to be more kind of leader-like. And Joe then called the place 40 times, went and bought a gas canister, and then decided, wait, I don't want to do that. And then gave the gas canister back just
on camera. Weird. And damn well, how often will the feds put that up in the trial? That him in that can. That will be all through the trial.
Well, and I mean, it's just really kind of reckless behavior, man. And look, that's kind of the world that is today. I mean, you Lee, look at the last 4 major mob indictments, and let's remember what they are. It's this mess. It's those 4 old guys robbing jewelry stores in Midtown Manhattan on camera. It was 2 geriatric Genovese gangsters selling perks on Staten Island. And, just some wild, and then the Mancuso stuff, just, hanging out with people you shouldn't be in broad daylight, just super reckless.
Yeah. And it's like Tony V said, you can get away with that behavior in the 70s because there were no cameras and stuff. You can't get away with that because you had a lot of psychopaths in the 70s and 80s, but they weren't being watched like they are now. You can't even go in the middle.
let me say one thing. Like, if you lived in Bensonhurst in, let's say, 1975, right? And some guy comes in and says, "Hey, man, we want $25 a week, and we're going to protect this neighborhood. There'll be no crime. It'll be like living in a utopic paradise." You would say, "All right, no problem." But these guys today, they steal, and you get nothing back. New York's a shithole. They're not doing anything to benefit your life. They're just taking from you and not doing much back.
Where were the
Exactly.
locations of the? I know it's upstate where they're digging the bodies, but where was all of the the restaurant and all that where the extortions were happening? Do we know?
We're not aware. I mean, they're demolition companies and garbage hauling companies. I would think Staten Island. The restaurant that Mr. Lanny was at was in Toms River, New Jersey.
Okay.
And what I find interesting about this is the two properties that were searched belong to a person, Giovanni Di Lorenzo, which is an interesting name because there's an indictment. In the indictment, there's a Salvatore Di Lorenzo. So they may be connected there.
Hollywood Wade, you're the last person I expected you to jump up here. I appreciate it, my man.
What's up, buddy?
Long time no see. How you doing?
I'm good, man.
So what brings you to our show tonight?
I think I got the link you sent me, so I was curious to who the special guest was.
I don't believe I'm in. I don't. I think
Jeff's very special.
You
gotta
be.
You know what? We didn't have a special guest, but Hollywood Wade's here now, so we got one.
I don't think I've ever met Jeff. Jeff, how are you, my friend?
How you doing, my man?
Now, if you know Jeff, if you know Hollywood Wade's story, he a guy had a fight with him in his house, and Hollywood Wade killed him in the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Why don't you give us the rundown of that story, Wade? Because we got quite a few people listening tonight. I'd like you to just give us the rundown of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, without getting too deep in the weeds, basically what it was, me and my wife had split up for a time period. It was a mutual split between the two of us. And then, as lots of times things happen, people go and, do their own thing, and then they decide to get back together. And once we reconciled, the girl that I was speaking to, I told her that I was getting back with my wife. And then when she told the guy, he didn't really take the news too well. And long story short, he wound up in my house. And originally it wasn't like a real physical confrontation. Like, it was kind of just smoothing out the detail. He was asking questions, I was answering them, and it wasn't physical right off the bat, but it turned physical. And unfortunately, I just had a back surgery a few days prior to this whole event, which he knew that. And so he just decided to, jump on me and said he was going to kill me. And I didn't really know him well enough to not take him at his word. And, when he started to hit on me, he kind of halfway connected. He kind of clipped the bottom of my chin. And when he did, he let go of his grip, and I pulled out the gun and shot him. And I was in my house, so it was what I would consider clear-cut self-defense.
And they still wanted to convict you, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They came at me guns blazing. I was fired from my job. I had to take out my 401k to pay for the lawyers. It drug basically for about 5 years. And this past October was a year from when it finally got dropped. And in the middle of all that, I was on house arrest, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. And that's when I started my podcast, Crime and Entertainment, which I talked to a lot of different people. I talked to a few mob guys, but I talked to, actors and people that have been wrongfully convicted as well. People that spent years in prison, 22 years, 4 years, 16 years. So a little bit of everybody, just like the name says, crime and entertainment.
They say we all have the ability to defend ourselves until we all defend ourselves. And then there's a big red tape to go through. A lot of people don't realize that if somebody robs my home and I shoot them as they're running outside,
you get in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, you came into my house or in our house, and it's amazing. It's amazing how that all works.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here in this part of Texas I live, you get arrested if you don't kill him.
Yeah. In Texas, I don't think I would have faced those charges. South Carolina is a red state, man. It's a gun-friendly state. Yeah. I was really shocked. I say I'm shocked. Like after the fact, when I know the circumstances, it was a newly promoted detective that was her first case. And from what I gathered after the fact, she kind of wanted to make a name for herself. So she tried to spin it as like this lover's revenge type thing. And I'm just like, dude, you got the facts all wrong. Like me and my wife were reconciling. Like I wasn't the one with the issue, he was. And she made a bunch of mistakes throughout the investigation. That's a whole story in and of itself. But, I'll put it like this. She was newly promoted to a detective. And now I think she's currently a school resource officer at an elementary school in the area. So that lets you know the caliber of,
Didn't work out
she
for her.
was. Yeah.
And when I did the show with you here, I played the 911 tape.
Yeah.
And you were so upset when you were talking to the cops because you were watching him die.
Yeah. I mean, it was right there in my kitchen. I mean, so, and I may talk to some guys that's done some things, close to that, but I personally had never experienced anything like that, especially with, me being directly involved in it. Unfortunately, I've witnessed a suicide before, but that's still not the same thing as what I was involved in. So it was pretty, surreal.
Hey, Teddy, you said that I had no problem with Center being released. Have you watched this show from the beginning, Teddy? We talked about this, and it's nothing like you said, Teddy. So I think you came in a little bit late. Have you? Now you did your show on what was that guy's name again? I interviewed him. I can't think of his name. The guy that interviewed you, Wade.
We're talking about the guy that was on American Greed.
Oh, Matt Cotton.
Yeah.
Your show that thing got like 1 million views, isn't it?
No, I don't. I think my interview with Matt got like 100,000 or 92,000. Now I went on Concrete's podcast. I think he's renamed it now to the Danny Jones podcast, but that got like 200,000. And then I was on Sean Atwood, and most recently I went on Ian Bick's show.
Yeah, Ian's good.
Now that guy Ian Bix is taking off. Jeff, have you noticed that guy? His show is just taking off.
So I talk to him pretty frequently. He's done. I mean, he's got like probably 10 shorts over 5 million. He grew so quick with shorts, man. Really impressive.
The show he did with me, just our shorts. I think he done 8 of them. And those 8, he's got over 11 million views.
Yeah,
that's just me.
He's done a nice job with that. He's a guy who, you talk about someone that gets out of prison and you don't know where you're going to go. Mm-hmm. He's figured out something, and you got to be very happy for him. I will ask you, I watched something about Matt Cox. So I'm fascinated by Sam Bankman-Fried. You know who that is?
Yeah, the guy that just got charged. Yeah. I don't think they've charged him yet, but just got found guilty.
So there's a woman, Tiffany Fong. She interviewed Matt Cox about how Sam Bankman-Fried will do in prison. And I got to tell you, that Matt Cox guy is fascinating. Like
100%. Yeah, he's a polarizing dude. I went to his house, and that was the first show I ever did. And then I hung out with him this past August in CrimeCon. And I mean, he's got a way of telling a story. He's got a lot of stories. And I mean, he's a real interesting cat. If you want to, I can make an introduction for you. He'll probably hop on the show. Yeah.
That'd be cool, man.
David Van Etten says gave $9.99. Thank you. He said it depends on the state. In New Jersey, you have to have someone laying on top of you before you could pull the gun. So every state's different. It's amazing. But people, I would tell you, Hollywood Way has an amazing story. You really got to look at it. By the time I read it in the paper and stuff, it was so obvious they were trying to railroad you and really put you away for life.
Oh yeah. I mean,
the guy attacked you in your house.
Yeah, and real obvious too. Like they got toxicology reports back. It was proven that the guy was on steroids. He was 3 times the legal limit on alcohol. He was, prescription medication because he was diagnosed with PTSD. So like all the stuff was there for you to be able to piece this together. I feel like, an amateur beat cop could have pieced this together, but for some reason, and it may have been a case where they charged it so quick. Had they backtracked, they would have looked like, idiots. I don't know, but they didn't let off the gas, and then COVID hit too, so it drug.
I got to ask you something real quick. Have you ever seen Felon?
Yes.
It's Steven Dorff's in it.
Yeah, Steven Dorff.
That guy ends up going to like state prison. That's a great movie. I'm similar in a way to your story.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And the guy that you killed was a vet, if I remember correctly. And did he see action in battle?
So he wasn't necessarily in action. That kind of played into part of that story. The night he kind of told me a portion of it. He made it seem like he was in battle, but what really was the case was he was intelligence. And so he was kind of behind the computer. And I'm not demeaning his service. He was still a member of the service. So I want to make that clear. I'm not saying, well, he wasn't this or that. His job in the military was intelligence. So he was somewhere telling other people where to go. And ultimately what happened was he led an individual somewhere, which I guess was the wrong information. That guy wound up getting shot. And that was what led to him having PTSD and ultimately getting, I don't know whether you call it kicked out of the army or discharged or dishonorable discharge or what it was, but those were the circumstances. Now, when he told me that story that night, and became rather emotional when he was telling it, he made it seem like he was there with the guy. But as I found out after the fact, he wasn't.
And another thing too is, how's your show going?
It's going good. I've passed like 6.3 thousand subs, and keeping the guests.
I remember you were like not even at 2 when we did ours. I mean, so you've grown quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll put the link out, by the way, on the chat for people to go to your channel.
Thank you, James. I actually just interviewed a guy Jeff had on not too long ago, Frank Mink.
Oh, Frank is a really good guy, man. You talk about a story, man. Frank he's got a story.
Yeah, he's really cool. I think we've interviewed a lot of the same people. Same with Lee, a lot of the same people we've had on. I just had
Lee, you should interview Frank Mink.
I don't even know who he is.
He's the guy they based American History X off of.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. That's some story. So I mean, so this guy was part of that life, and then
he's from Philadelphia. He grew up in South Philadelphia. He moved, went out to where I live, Lancaster County, and started hanging out with a bunch of white supremacists. Became one of the biggest white supremacists in America in the youth movement. Did a bunch of shit, went to prison, and completely switched his life around. And now he's a huge activist for rights and things of that nature. Very interesting guy.
Yeah.
Hey, people, I want to share something with you. I just got to do this. Okay. So I wanted to see how much Super Bowl tickets cost. And so I went and pulled this thing up. And would you know that the cheapest ticket, Jeff, for the upper deck is $7,000. And if you want the club sideline, it's $16,242 per ticket.
Yeah, you got to get your super chats up for that, man.
Okay. So they say that this is the most expensive Super Bowl ever. First of all, they're playing in a new place. I mean, it's always an excuse. We're playing in a new place. We're going to raise the prices. Can you imagine what the boxes there cost?
Probably $50K, $60K.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, 100.
Yeah, for a Super Bowl. I toured the Texas Stadium one time, the Cowboy Stadium, and it was for a Monday night game, but a Sunday tour of the stadium was part of the package. And I asked the guy when we were touring those boxes, and it was the first Monday night game they ever had. So I'm sure prices have done nothing but go up. And I asked the guy what was the price for like seats in that box, like season tickets. And he said, I'm not sure where you're from, but it's probably somewhere around the area of knocking the area code off your phone number. And I was like, all right, understood. Let me get out of here before I break something.
That's amazing.
You can't even go to a Yankee game no more unless you got to have money to go to a Yankee game, especially if you're bringing a couple people with you. I used to go to the Yankee game, and for $1.50, I would sit out in the bleachers. And this was back in the 1975, 76. No, they opened up the new stadium in 76. That's when but it was $1.50 to sit out in the bleachers. There's no such thing as of cheap seats anymore anywhere.
No, not at all.
And Jeff, what do you think about the Philadelphia? Seems like they've had some really good sports teams over the last couple of years, don't they?
Yeah, they have. I mean, the Eagles have been pretty relevant my entire life. I mean, they've had kind of some good runs, won a Super Bowl. Phillies have won a World Series, been there a couple of times recently. Yeah, Sixers have been relevant for the most part. Yeah, it's been a good decade or so, I would say.
And it's all teams. I mean, I was surprised when Philadelphia lost. I'll be totally honest with you, and especially to Arizona. Uh, and I just like to bring that up.
They really
Okay,
could.
Eddie, yeah, James and Hollywood Wade are all good. That fellow with the tattoo here, not so. Who's the tattoo here?
I think me.
Unbelievable, tattooed here. Okay, I need some tattoo here. Hey, I noticed you do a lot of traveling, Wade. I notice if I don't see you in Las Vegas, you're other places. I mean, you really get around, don't you?
I mean, I try to, man. Well, 5 years, sitting on the same couch cushion will make you want to get out and live life as much as you can when it gets dropped. So I always quote that line that Uncle Junior said in The Sopranos, farting into the same couch cushion for 5 years will really want you to get out and experience life. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. So any chance I get to go somewhere, whether I'm guesting on a show or just traveling for my own accord or I've started going to some of like the crime cons and podcasts, pod fests or whatever you want to call them. It's fun. I'm actually going to New York, not this weekend, but next December the 1st. There's a friend of mine down in Florida that's got a movie premiering at a film festival in New York called Silent Partners. So I'm going to go down there and check that out. And I'm trying to line up a show down there while I'm going to be in the area. So make the most of it.
Jared Dave, $5. He says, big up from Australia, Lee and Jeff. And don't forget James, because James makes me a lot smarter. You two are the best in the genre, thought as Neil Delacroix. And you know what Jeff's thinking right now? Don't even put Lee in the same sentence with me. Okay. I think it was a perfect gangster. Jeff, I wanted to show you something because Jeff, you got to 10 million. I noticed, right? What are you at? Like 11 to 12 million right now?
15.
Congratulations! I mean, you're just moving, and I want to show you. We were at 5 million views 3 weeks ago, and look what we hit now. 3 weeks later, 6 million.
Yeah, the shorts, man, they will drive your views up, man. If you get a. I mean, I have to be honest. I mean, one of the videos I put out has 4.9 million. So that's been really helpful. Look, I never knew when you put these shorts out, you never know what they're going to do. Some do 2,000 views or 1,000 views. Some do 5 million. It's all very relevant.
And it's like and it's kind of funny because when I went to see Sammy and got punched in the temple, people laugh and say, "Oh, you got punched in the temple." I was like, "I'm going to go back." So I was telling James next time I drive the car, I'm going to drive in this direction, so Jared hits me in this temple, because it gets you about 4,000 or 5,000 extra subs. So
I had one that did fairly well. I interviewed Chris Colombo, and I think Jeff, you interviewed him too.
Yeah,
and he made a comparison of Jesus being the first gangster persecuted on the first RICO. And I mean, listening back, he actually had some decent parallels there. And I made a short out of it and put some pictures in there, and it got pretty decent views for my channel. I'm not quite on the level you boys are yet.
He claimed
for mine.
Wait, guys, you got to see this. Guys, you got to see this. Check this out.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Fat Bull Thumb?
How are you? How are you, Lee? My arch nemesis.
Okay, I want to take you out of here before you show me something else that's fat and bald.
All right,
but
have a good time, man. Thanks.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You never know what's going to come out of their pants.
Yeah, you got to watch. He's in his bathroom too. It looks like so.
You know what's funny? Angel Gotti was doing a show with Marla, and they got this guy that comes on and keeps exposing himself, and they start laughing and tell him how small he is. How dare you show that thing? You should be embarrassed by yourself. I mean, it is hilarious. And this guy, he's like the streaker on YouTube. And last night he hit Jeff Canarsi's show.
Well, I haven't luckily had him come in. I will answer a question if I can, Lee.
Oh, go right ahead. Whatever you
Nope.
guys do. And Wade, if you see questions you want to answer, help yourself, man.
Tony V
Okay.
says, "Is it true, Nadu, that you do not date white women?" That would be correct. Yes, I don't. Thank you for
Why
asking. Just not my thing, I guess.
Well,
I've
I'm going to
dated
tell you
one.
what.
One.
Huh?
I've dated one, but proceed.
Well, I was married to a Mexican, a Puerto Rican, and a Russian. And
Wow.
so, but the craziest one was the white one. I can honestly say that.
Well, you've had 4 wives or 3 wives?
3 wives in a really long-term relationship. The girl I kidnapped, she got even with me. She spent 10 years with me. Okay. And we could talk about crimes, Hollywood Way, because I got charged with kidnapping. And
I heard that.
3 days, 3 days later, they dropped it off the charges. But it doesn't matter. Once you make the front page of a newspaper, people and do you have this problem, Wade, where people look at you kind of strange at times, where they think you're a killer?
Oh yeah, a lot. Like because the community that I'm in here in South Carolina, it's every house is like 10 feet apart. So there's a lot of houses in the neighborhood where I'm at. And so obviously I was on every paper. News vans were camped outside the house for 2 or 3 days because nothing of that magnitude had ever happened here. And for years, the people that didn't know me, the ones that knew me knew that I would have never done anything like that because I'd never been in trouble before in my life. But people that didn't, like, they would give me looks in the grocery store and stuff. They have a grocery store in the neighborhood that everybody uses. It's a Publix. And, I don't think I had trick-or-treaters for like 2 years. Nobody ever come near the house. So, but now I don't get it as much just because it's been a little over 5 years. A lot of the people have moved away. So some people know, but a lot of people didn't. Or a lot of people don't now because it's mostly newer people that's influxed in. It'll get brought up from time to time in the group Facebooks and stuff like that. And somebody will ask, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened here? So it'll get brought up from time to time.
I bet nobody
guys,
will mess with you again.
Guys, please, Anthony H. said, stop deleting every comment. We're grown-up people here. You're right. If it's not a nasty comment, people, he's entitled to his opinion as long as it's respectful. Please don't take it off. He came in here peacefully. He's put up some good conversation. Do you do many lives, Wade?
No, I've never done a live.
And why not? Just wondering.
I mean, that's just when I started. I just started as pre-recorded episodes. I just never. I didn't even really realize there was a thing. I didn't even start doing shorts till probably about 3 or 4 months ago.
James, are you still here?
I am here. Yep.
Is there anything that you want to ask Hollywood while he's here, or
Yeah.
you want to hear Hollywood?
So you were saying that you had a really good job, and you had to get that was taken away because of that, and I remember that you got another job, and that I think the boss was understanding on that.
Yes.
But how's everything now? Are you? I can't remember if you have your own business. I know you're doing the YouTube thing, but if you have your own business, or are you also working?
No, I'm still working. I did leave that company that I was with and started with another one that's kind of close to the money I was making before.
Right.
I mean, and I told that guy I appreciated everything he done for me because he did give me a job and give me a leadership position as well. So he really looked out for me, but it kind of come down to a matter of just trying to rebuild everything I had lost. And the offer that I was made after everything was dropped and my name was cleared and my record was expunged, the offer that I was presented to go to another company I couldn't really pass it up.
Yeah.
And nobody
Have you recovered from it yet financially? I mean, that's
hell no.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. And how long were you having to live off your 401k?
Oh, I didn't have a chance to live off of it. I mean, that went to a lawyer almost right off the bat. I mean,
wow.
It was, just for getting the lawyer retained and getting out of jail was almost $80,000. I mean, it was $50,000 for the lawyer, $15,000 retainer to get everything started, and like a $12,500 bond to get out of jail. So that was, right off the rip. And then here and there was more stuff throughout the case for flying experts in and things like that for forensics, explanations and stuff. So altogether, I think I totaled it up one day and, it was right at $100,000 all said and done.
And
Well, you're
imagine
lucky.
if you
Just
didn't have that money, that 401k. Can you
Oh,
imagine?
I'd be in jail. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Or I'd have had a cop to something or, plea or something. It wouldn't have been a good outcome. It wouldn't have been the outcome I have now for sure.
What was the first, just for people that haven't heard your story, what was the first offer that the prosecutors made for you as far as what did they want you to plea?
They never offered one.
Oh, they never did. Okay.
No. Yeah, they never did.
So they wanted to go in for the kill.
Yeah. They never offered anything. I told my lawyer that I probably wouldn't have. I told him I wouldn't have accepted one anyway. I would have found it hard to believe you could have found 12 people from this area that would have, found me guilty. But it would have still legally, he had to at least let me know if they offered anything. But they never did. Once we had that little meeting where we showed them what we had, when it was about to go to a self-defense hearing, they just completely dismissed the case.
I want to play you something, Wade. Do you want to see? This is Sammy Gravano, one of his recent shows, and he's talking about his son and my confrontation. And I want you to see how much Sammy Gravano's smiling here.
My fucking balls, and he came to try to fucking put my pressure on me. I think my son slapped the shit out of him, and he ran away crying. my son is no joke. He don't want to fight people. He's a tough kid. He did time. Did 7.5 years on the ecstasy case. Got pinched a bunch of time. He's a good-hearted kid. I call him a kid. He's a man, good-hearted man. But if you fuck with him, I mean, he did box in the ring. I mean, if you fuck with him, he could slap the shit out of him. He didn't even punch this fucking jerk off. He just slapped the shit out of him, slapped his phone out of his face. So, and I told him, leave them alone. Leave these people alone. Let them just chirp. But,
okay, let me give you a few more.
You seen the video? Did that happen like that?
No, I mean, that's just.
We were calling each other cocksuckers as we were like fighting. And
Lee, you're a wrestling guy. You might know this term. I was often wondering if that was a work.
No. A lot of people said that, and it's ridiculous because Sammy Gravano ain't gonna sit there and set something up like that. He hates my guts with a passion. You kidding me? And but you know what it is though. Whenever he talks about that incident, he smiles. It's like
you never see him smile.
Yeah, he smiles whenever it's like and then he's talking about what a good kid he has. He says that my kid, well, he did 7 years, but he's a good kid, and he had some charges. But I just wanted you to see that. Jeff, did you see that before?
Yeah, I have.
But you see the smile on his face, like he's so proud of his boy.
Jeff, what'd you think of that Get Gotti documentary?
I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought it was way better than the other one, the one that would just come out. I mean, I
haven't watched that one. You talking about the Beat a Boss or Make a Boss?
Yeah, I couldn't get through like 5 or 10 minutes of it. But look, I think the Gotti thing is, look, I thought the last episode was pretty good. I will say, Miss Giovino isn't a big fan of me. I know that. She's made it clear that she's not a big fan. But I thought it was okay. I thought it was better than most documentaries. But again, I didn't really like the casting too much. But
yeah.
What did you think of
why
it,
didn't
Dave?
Giovino like you? Why didn't?
Well,
the
she
lady like you?
well, I did a video on her, kind of going through her life. I wondered
Yeah.
who exactly she was, and she called certain people and was very upset with that little prick. I don't know who he thinks he is. I'm not quite sure because I don't really think I delved much away from her actual story. But it's weird because she's said on multiple occasions, on multiple interviews, that she did what she did for her kids. She wasn't going to, stick up for people that that didn't have her best interest at heart. And then she says a week ago that she's not an informant. And I don't know, like, make up your mind. But she has a podcast now, I heard.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll learn more about that.
I seen Ruggiano was just on it.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I thought it was garbage, and I thought it was a propaganda piece for the feds. The last hour of that thing was torturous. They were talking about how great the feds were and how they did everything right, but they didn't talk about the chicks in her underwear. She's there. They didn't talk about that, you know. And
well, that was really pathetic. Diane Jackalone, I found it really wild that they interviewed her. She's a real lowlife, that lady.
Yeah, that was the worst part of it. That's the part I was very. That was awful.
By the way, I heard Lee, I heard you might be taking Giovino on a date. Is that true?
Well, if she's going to give me her underwear, why not? If she's going to take them off and not make me, why not?
You're a fan of her, that Giovino. You think she's attractive?
No, people. Okay, let's remember what she did. She sent Willie Boy.
No, I'm not talking about her, Lee. I'm talking about the lady, Andrea.
Yeah, the blonde-haired lady in the documentary.
She's a beautiful woman. But you know what it is too. She has a very interesting life, but she's not a gangster.
Right.
She's definitely got an interest. She's been around some pretty big guys. You know that.
I thought it was an odd choice to throw a woman into that mix. I mean, obviously Ruggiano had some ties to it. I just thought it was odd placement. Like, and I'm not disparaging her, whoever she was, but I just thought it was odd.
She wrote a book and claims that when she was dating Frank Lino at one point, she was in a home sleeping up in like a room, and Bruno Indelicato came upstairs and started rooting around and noticed she was on the bed, and she got spooked and beat him with a phone, she claims. And
Anthony Indelicato, I doubt it.
Yeah, that's what she says in the book.
That guy's a pure killer.
He said
he would have disappeared.
He just said, "Don't tell anyone about this," and ran out.
I just can't picture that. Can you picture him doing that? This is one of the most ruthless killers in the mob. I'm sorry. I just can't picture that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. It's.
I thought Ruggiano did. I'm a fan of Ruggiano.
What are you doing now? What's that? You're a fan of Ruggiano?
Yeah. What were you saying? What am I doing now?
Yeah. Ruggiano came out to me and James a couple shows ago.
Oh, did
he? Yeah.
Yeah, I have no issue with him either. I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and him have done a lot of stuff together in New York, and had some stuff in a studio up there. So, I mean, he's just.
So you met him personally?
Oh yeah. We've met each other a number of times in New York. A lot of those behind the gangster episodes that I have on my show, where we kind of highlight people that have been portrayed on film as to more so how they were in the real world. All those were done in the studio in New York with him and I. And I mean, just kind of like Jeff said, I think I seen a short not too long ago where he was saying that, anytime I've ever met the man, he's been a gentleman, asked me how I've been, family's been, I think one day we were up, he bought lunch. So I was supposed to go to his birthday party last year he had in Brooklyn. And as a matter of fact, that same weekend of the party, I come down with the flu, but that was the same weekend that I found out that my case got dropped. So I wasn't able to make it because I didn't want to go up there and get everybody sick. But I like Ruggiano. He's a cool dude.
Yeah,
Jeff,
I do think he changed. I mean, that part, the only thing we went after him on is just the relationship with John Gotti. I mean, he's got an interesting life. We feel that some of that stuff's embellishing. The people we've spoken with that was around John Gotti and, those people really didn't know him. And there's one of the big guys on YouTube that's a former mob guy with a Gambino.
I was always near John Gotti. And he said he's seen him twice.
Yeah, so that's
twice
all
in about 10 years.
Yeah. I will say, I mean, I've held no punches about this. I always found him to be super nice to me. I've said before,
he is nice.
He actually reminds me a lot of someone close to me at one point. I think he's a nice guy. I don't.
Yeah,
I know not everybody's a fan of his. But I think that's the thing about YouTube. You know, I just know how he's treated me, you know, and as far as that's concerned, look, his father was his father. Did he do the things? Yep. And I said myself, I thought he was a poor casting choice personally, but you know, I don't mind him. I think he's all right. He's a good guy to me.
Yeah, that's my thing. I've kind of always just judged people how they've ever treated me. You know, what they might have done in a life that I was, you know, no way involved in. That's another story. But I can only judge anybody how they treat me and my experiences with them.
Is that true, Carmine S? I don't want to spread rumor. I'm just
no, it's not. Okay, here's what happened. Ruggiano went on to a show and said that Angel had a crush on him, and Angel at that time was with her husband. Now, if you see Angel's husband, and then you see Ruggiano, you would understand that never happened. That's the little things that he says. Those are the things that he says where he's full of crap. I could probably name 100 things that he said that it absolutely didn't happen. And that's the problem. And that's the problem with these guys, Wade. I'm going to be totally honest with you because I interviewed informants. But the problem with informants are this. They've lived interesting lives, but they always want to make them a lot bigger.
Well, then, Lee, here's the thing. I think, at least for me, I think you have to try to interview the ones that there are some that are a bit boisterous for sure. But like Fiordolino, for instance, he's a prime example. He never held punches with me. He said I was never a made man. And he's probably more connected than pretty much anybody on here. His family's been in the mafia for 100 years. I think some are constructive to the other ones, but you know, they've all been nice to me. I've got no issues with them, except A-Light. Him and I've gotten into it at times, but
well, what's happened with me, I'll be honest with you, is the Sammy Gravano incident. See, a lot of people don't hear when his son was punching me, he was telling his son to pull me from the car. And I remember looking directly at Sammy's face. And you seen there was nothing there. It was like looking at the devil.
Hey, Lee, I'm going to just tell you, I'm just going to be honest. If that were me, I think a lot of us, look, if that's your father, Lee, what would you have done?
What was I doing? I was asking his father a question.
I know. I'm just saying, if it were me, I may have.
Did I do anything aggressive toward his father?
No, I don't think you did. Not that I know of.
No. Was his father talking to me nicely at that moment?
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely. I think he definitely pushed it a little further.
The son went after me because I was filming his money tree. That's the only reason. He doesn't want nobody filming his dad except him. They're gonna make as much money off him, and when he's dead, they're gonna hold him and put him in a freezer and bring him out and pretend he's alive for the next 6 months, because their money train's gonna be gone when he's gone. That's how I look at it. But you know, people say to me, "Lee, would you do it again?" Hell yeah, I would do it again. That was exciting.
Lee, the rumor has been you. Lee, the rumor was at one point you were going to do that with other informants. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I was thinking about driving up on Dominic Ciccoli and Gene. You know, those young guys that would like literally rip me from the car.
You really? You should create a series. Yeah. Slap it. Lee gets slapped around.
Yeah, imagine that. I go out every 3 months just to see how much I could provoke one of them.
You'd probably get some subs off of that. I don't know how long you'd be around to enjoy it.
But
I mean, you get some subs.
Okay, here's the ones I'm staying away from. I'm going to stay away from Howie. There's just certain ones you stay away from.
I think you should probably just stay away from all of them, Lee. That would probably be a good idea.
Well, you know, it's
Lee, I got to tell you, I think Ruggiano would slap your fucking wig off.
I would smack him right back. So, you know, I can be totally honest with you. He's my age. We're going.
I don't think he would, though. He seems like a really kind guy. I don't think he would.
David Van Ant, what's the story with the guy Anthony Ramundi? Was he found out to be a farce? Dave, we don't even actually.
He's actually
Dave,
in the hospital.
Anthony Ramundi became good friends with Jeff Nadu. They have like a relationship now.
Not true.
You're having trouble though. Someone that hates you now, Jeff, is John A-Light.
He does. He's very unhappy with me. Yes. He
So
called me a cocksucker.
Give us an idea.
I thought we were good, but then I see he did a show recently and called me that little prick, you know, and all this stuff. And What he's upset with is I did a video about him and I asked if he was fact or fiction. And I told the story about what I believe is his life. And I thought I was quite kind to him. I thought I said what I think is true and what's not. He said I'm obsessed with the Gaudis and I'm working for them, and that I'm undercover, and that I want to make him look bad, and that all the people that I mentioned are not tough and he's way tougher than all of them. Yeah, he's upset with me.
The Truth said, Lee, imagine you get out of your vehicle and you beer mace Sammy and his son. Yeah, okay. But you know something, though? Talking serious, all seriousness aside, someone said to me, so what would you have done if, say, they shot you and killed you there? And I can honestly say, if that's the way I went, that's the way I'd want to go. I don't want to go in some old folks' home. I'd rather be, you know.
I mean, looking at it from a side point, you traveled how many miles to go see him?
It wasn't to go see him, right? James, was it originally to go to see him?
Yeah, Lee, he is right.
James?
You can drive like
Sorry,
11
I'm on
hours.
mute. No, it wasn't. We had a lot of there's about a month's worth of plans. There was we had a lot of stuff set up beforehand. Bill Catolo, we were going to interview. He had surgery, so that couldn't happen. And then you got COVID after that, right?
Yeah, and Maz also. I was going to go out, and then he couldn't. That was before I was even thinking of that whole thing with Sammy was an accident.
Yeah,
it wasn't planned.
And then you're going to go to Vegas after that, after Arizona.
Yeah, but then right after that happened, I felt really, really sick, and I knew if I didn't get home, I was going to die while on the road.
Is that the real BK Shaolin? Is that the real one? Is it really him?
I have. Yeah, I believe that is.
I used to really get a kick out of him. I haven't seen him in a while.
I'll tell you a guy I interviewed, Jeff, that you might find pretty interesting. Did you ever see that documentary on Netflix called Bad Sport?
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember the Arizona State basketball scandal with Headache Smith?
Headache Smith? Yeah, sure.
So I interviewed Joe Gagliano, which was the guy that kind of set all that up. He was a very, very good interview. He doesn't have a podcast. He started one. Somebody else is hosting it. Just kind of overcoming different types of situations. And
that was a big thing, the Arizona State thing.
Yeah, and that was probably at that point in time, that's one of my favorite interviews that I'd ever done with him. The way he broke that down and set it up, and it all started with Benny Silman, being the campus bookie, and then kind of, spiraled to where it went. But that was a pretty interesting interview. I thought that was really good.
I'm going to ask you guys both something then. Hollywood, you answer this first, Jeff second. Who was your favorite interview?
Any genre, like you're not talking specifically mob genre, right?
No, someone that you just remembered and they were your favorite interview.
I gotta say, and I hate to be this way, I gotta say two of them. One would be Tom Sizemore. Obviously was in Heat, Natural Born Killers, Saving Private Ryan. I was one of his last interviews before he passed away. I'm not saying I was the last, but I was one of the last. And we talked for probably over 3 hours. It was a 2-parter, and he just kept talking. He went in depth about actually speaking with John Gotti when he played Gotti in the Sammy the Bull movie. I forgot, Witness to the Mob. And it was really good. And, he just said he normally doesn't like opening up like that to people, but, he did whatever he did with me. So that's one. And the other one was Michael Thompson.
Now, who is Michael Thompson? Who's Michael Thompson?
You'd probably seen him on Gangland, and he was on Vlad. He was like one of the top shot callers of the Aryan Brotherhood.
Yeah. Isn't he a fraud, though?
Thompson?
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Yeah, I've heard that embellished at least. I mean,
he's a dropout. I've heard, which we know already.
I mean, as far as what he did and didn't do in prison, there's no way I can tell you.
Right.
There's some people when you hear them talk, I believe you can say that they were a part of that. As to what degree, you know, I got to go off his word, but I mean, he did do time. He was in prison for a very long time. He was connected with a lot of those guys. There's pictures to prove that were his own gangland. And then he did go against them. Now, as far as his reasoning of going against them, I think it's in the interview, and you know, I've done a lot since then. But I want to say there was a hit that was going to be put out that was going to involve a woman and possibly a child if the child was there. Basically, it was going to be a situation where anybody that was there was going to be collateral damage, and that's why he, you know, started testifying against them. You know, as far as anything else happening in the middle of I can't, you know, tell you what may or may not have happened. I can just tell you what he told me. But just the interview in and of itself was very, very good.
Okay, now what is yours?
I would say my favorite mob interview I've ever done, Jack Garcia. I've interviewed him twice. He infiltrated the Gambino crime family. I think Greg DePalma, the guy he basically, you know, kind of got to believe that he was a mobster, is super interesting. I also interviewed a guy that not a lot of people know who he is. I think Wade, if you ever want to speak to him, it'd be a good interview. I interviewed a guy, Pete Early, and in the 80s, he embedded in Leavenworth prison completely as a journalist. He went in and just stayed there for a week, and he learned all sorts of things. He wrote a really popular book, and then he profiled Tom Silverstein, who was in solitary confinement at ADX for 35 years, essentially. Yeah. And he wrote his book. It's a book called No Human Contact, and it's really about just a withering away as a person because of the government hating you. And he was a fascinating interview, but all the Howie Santos was super interesting. I mean, I've interviewed DEA agents, Border Patrol agents that have been shot by cartels. I think every interview I've ever done. I would probably say Lee Cole. I haven't interviewed him yet though.
Well,
he's been too good.
I leave that. The people never forget me.
Jeff,
I'm going to tell you.
Let me hop on Jet real quick. Did Tommy, he decapitated a guard? Is that correct?
Yeah. So Tommy was at Marion when it was the worst. He was on the control unit, and he had a guard that was bothering him, Merle Klutz,
breaking his pencils and shit.
Yeah, hit his mail. You know, it was a real screw to him. And one day he just got sick of it. They handed him a knife, and he stabbed the guy 64 times. I think it was.
Was it true that his son was also there and working as a guard?
Klutz's son, or
Klutz's son.
That I don't know of, but that is infamous because the same day another guard was killed by another AB, Clayton.
Because he was trying to outdo him.
Yeah, so
and that's when they shut Marion down, ain't it?
That's correct. Clayton Fountain was this up and comer. He wanted to be in the AB. He was like a prospect, and he wanted to impress Silverstein. They then took Silverstein to Atlanta. He rotted on the bottom floor. Then they took him to Leavenworth, and then they put him at ADX. And keep in mind, guys, Silverstein was on range 13, which is there's only two prisoners there, Silverstein and Ramsey Youssef. And this is a prison inside of ADX. And Silverstein wrote a bunch of papers, painted a bunch of things. Very fascinating guy. I think he's possibly the most interesting criminal of all time. He is super interesting. And he withered away, really. He withered away in confinement.
Youssef's the 93 bombing guy, right?
Yeah, World Trade Center, yeah.
My favorite interview was hands down Gunnar Lindblom. That was a joke. Okay. Mine was Sandra Petty, hand down.
His name's not Gunnar Lindblom anymore, by the way.
What is it now?
He's changed his name to Alan Lindblom.
Oh, okay. Well, nobody knows who he is now. So mine would be S.J. Petty. And nice. I loved interviewing her. A matter of fact, Angel and I are interviewing her tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to. And so is James and Marla. So it's going to be a nice interview. And we're going to ask her other questions because not many people have sat down with Sonny Franzese as long as she did. And he didn't talk to nobody in his whole life, but he chose to sit down and talk to this woman. And she has the video, not the video, the voice form. It's amazing that she got that conversation out of him. and my worst ever, hands down, John A. Light, horrible.
Oh, you interviewed
That's
John?
something. Oh, it was horrible. His phone was going in and out. The day before, I got 500 bots in my show, and then the next day they disappeared. And then that's a story. And so he was the whole situation with him was, it was like being with a dirty hooker. That's what I mean. I just felt dirty afterwards when I got done with him. It's just it's just nothing ever felt right about John A. Light. I can honestly say that.
I'll tell you, out of the box interview that I did that went very well. It's one of my better videos, and I don't know if you guys have Hulu, but there's a documentary. I think it's called Monster in the House. It's a guy named Russ McCamey, who basically was the mastermind behind McCamey Manor, which is like a really, really extreme haunted house to where they will do really god awful shit to you, like put you in boxes with animals, snakes, scorpions, spiders, bury you up to your neck in mud. I mean, just all types of crazy shit. And people volunteer to do this. You've got a slew of people that, think a certain way of him. He's got his fans, but he's also got a lot of detractors. But when he broke it down to me, like when these people sign up for it, it's not like they just say, hey, I want to do it, and it happens. Like they have to sign a 50-page waiver. They have to get a physical saying that they're physically fit to do it, and bring up something saying that they're of sound mind. So these people know what the hell they're getting into, but it is quite an extreme haunted house. And he doesn't do a ton of interviews. But I got a chance to interview him, and it was before this Hulu doc. It was probably about 2 years ago. The Hulu doc just came out right before Halloween.
I just will address Malden Man. We talked about that earlier. I think anybody that has any brain whatsoever could. And by the way, I didn't say he was. I said, to me, someone that's committed more than 10 murders and they just automatically get springed. I'm sure I'll do just fine, Malden Man. But hey, thanks for the question,
Angela. Thank you for the Cash App. Appreciated. Yeah, that's the thing when we interview these people. Some of them become very different. But the worst line I heard, Jimmy A. Light, and this became a legendary line that he said. He said that he was with 1 million women. And
who's that?
Do you remember that
John's
woman?
brother?
Yeah, Jimmy A. Light, the brother.
Yeah.
And you remember the woman from Russia that used to be on with MRE there for a while, Tanya, whatever her name is.
Yeah,
Jeff, do you remember her?
Personally, maybe you guys do.
I can't say I do, honestly.
Well, they were talking about him, saying that he was he literally he was with him. He meant it. I've been with 1 million women. And we all know that's literally impossible.
Well, I actually mean it when I mean it when I say it, Lee.
That's like
as long as you don't call me up drunk on a Saturday night and tell me it, Jeff.
Well, I might do that tonight. But Lee, let me ask you. I'm going to jump off, but I wanted you to say one thing for me. Can you do this? That's what it comes down to.
This is what it comes down to, people. Look right here. Tonight we've had a mob show, 253 people in here, consistent. We had intelligent conversation. And Wade comes in here and he talks. And listen, people, you may not like some of the people that we have on or we've had on, but this is what it's about right here. You got content makers right here just having a colorful conversation. And before you leave, Jeff, I'd like to mention to you that Angel Gotti tonight's going to be talking about the fight. It's a second fight, and John Gotti III is going to be fighting. What's his name again? Floyd Mayweather again. But I'll let her give you the details. It's very interesting stuff, and that's going to be in 27 minutes. Yes,
they're really fighting again.
Yeah. They're going to fight again, and you know something? I watched that fight one more time, and that referee. I'm sorry. That guy was so corrupt the way he stopped that fight.
He works for Floyd.
I know, but I seen him, this is the first time that I seen him. The way he walked up to him, and he never looked at Floyd. He looked at him and said, no, fight's over. And I'm like, wow. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be refereeing this fight. I doubt it very much.
And I don't know what the rules were of the fight, you know, and what was allowed, because it's an exhibition, so you could put a variety of rules in the contract. And so, but yeah, it was kind of weird to me that it was stopped like that.
Well, watch the ref close up because,
Yeah.
you know, all of a sudden he decided he was going to stop it, and there was no really major foul.
Right.
And that was the most amazing thing. And the fight was, you know, almost over. It's obvious it was going to go all the way. Nobody was in jeopardy. And well, I'm glad to see I know a lot of people saying John Gotti is going to get beat up again. But listen, maybe this time he's going to say, I'm just going to go for it instead of sitting back and waiting. You can't sit back and wait. You can't sit back on Floyd and wait.
I think Floyd will be, he might take it a little more serious this time. I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see what type of physical shape he's in. You know, what if he's going to be in peak performance or if it'll be like last time. But, you know, I mean, Gotti the third held his own. I mean, because he's not a you know, he hadn't been fighting that long. So, I mean, anyone that could go like they did against Mayweather, I have to commend them on it, you know, regardless of who it was.
I'd like to see a little bit more action out of him on the second fight.
Yeah.
Though. He's got to go after it a little bit more.
He's got a good punch,
Yes,
is my understanding. You know, he's got a good punch, and his defense was always suspect. So be interesting.
The most exciting part of the fight was after the referee stopped it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. That's when the fight started. You know,
that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Jeff, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Wade, Lee, I'll call you around 1:30 tonight. Take it easy.
And listen, guys, we're going to be on here every Friday night at 7:00 regularly, and we're going to be doing a live every Friday. And Wade, you're welcome anytime. Thank you for coming and sharing your story, my man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
we'll be in touch.
You. Please, folks, subscribe and visit Wade's channel. Can you mention the channel's name again?
Well, I'll have his channel underneath this show when I'm done. I'll put it down there, and you can go click on it. Okay?
Thank you, buddy.
Okay, take care, my man. Okay, so you know, we put up there a special guest, and I guess we came up with one.
Yeah. No, that's okay, good. So
did you guys enjoy this type of show? This type, you know, while you were still here, did you enjoy this type of format? Did you enjoy that we were talking serious? And how much better do you find a show like this than when it's attacking, cursing, swearing, and saying horrible things to people? I hope that you'd like that. And Brian Press, thank you. I appreciate that. Midwest. I see a lot of names here. And guys, I know a lot of yous and I's had issues. Anybody's welcomed here as long as you are decent to me and to my friends. That's what it comes down to. Tony B, you've been here for a long time tonight. I appreciate it. Anthony H, thank you for coming in with that information about those 302s that you read. And that was really good information. Angela, thank you. Joe Root, Tony B. Well, let's see. Jeff Nadu's still here. Mickey Griggs, good to see you here, my man. Bruce City, stay there. I want to give you a wrench, Bruce City. Okay. Okay, Bruce City, you're added as a wrench. Mike Hensley, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to be giving you some wrenches out right now. So, guys, just respect the wrench. Don't block nobody. I appreciate it. If anybody gets out of hands, Petey Pisano, thank you. I appreciate it. You're added as a moderator. Stone Sealer for sure. Okay, Roy Munson, being that you said that, I'm going to give you a wrench. Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot because, you know, you're very straightforward. Okay. If I haven't given you a wrench, if I see you here next time we have a show, I will give you a wrench because you came back. Okay, Brian Press. I gave you one because you used to be a wrench for me, Brian Press. And we stay, Benny, $20. Enjoy the flow when it's just Lee Cole, and you enjoy the flow. I appreciate that, Benny. That means a lot.
Thank you.
We want to give you, we want to give you a good entertainment here. That's our goal, and we're not going to come in here fighting and attacking people. We're going to come in here and give you a good show, and we're going to try to find somebody interesting for next Friday. We're going to bring guests on Fridays. Did you like the format tonight, James? The way this went, did it seem smooth to you?
Yeah. So, I mean, what we're going to do is, we want to bring in, like a panel, different guests, different people to come on, and we'll try to get a theme for it. We're just now getting back into lives, and Lee and I were talking. This is the first time since I've joined the show. I've been with you now almost a year, right? And we never did 2 lives in a week, and we've already done. This is the first time, so.
Well,
It's really
I
fun.
was worried. I was worried we were out of the algorithm, but we're not. And let's face it, people aren't going to come into your show if they don't like you, or if and it's not how many people's in your show; it's how many participants you have in your chat room. And right now
engaging and all that.
we have about 60 people in our chat room engaging right now. That is a lot, people.
Yeah.
That means that people are interested in seeing the show. So when we see that people are interested, we'll do more shows like this. And with the Patreon
and we'll try to
page,
spice it up each week. Just do different stuff to for that. So people will.
I think that we got to have like a stripper weekend where we interview a couple strippers. What do you think, James?
Yeah.
Guys, what do you think? Even girls, what do you think about us interviewing some strippers?
God.
Okay. And they won't be the strippers from the bad neighborhoods. They'll be the strippers from the good neighborhoods. How's that?
Oh God.
And Tony B said we can have a Titty Tuesday. Okay.
I love that.
Will T says yes to the strippers. Marine said, shh, don't do that, Lee. Good show, Lee. Good show, James and DP. DP, that means a lot from you. Thank you. Lee, give Carmine a wrench. Okay, I have a wrench, Mr. I have to rewatch Mr. Show. Yeah, Angela, why did you miss the show? Huh? So you know what I like to do? I like to get Tony B up here to interview with us. Tony B, mark my word, I'm going to get you up here somehow. And Gianni Catalano, I'm going to get you up here. Petey Bassano, guys that are interesting. Next time, the real deal can pop up here. William in Brooklyn. I'm just stalling for time right now because I'm trying to. You got 18 minutes to Angel Show, people. 18 minutes. I'm going to be here for about another 3 minutes reading your remark.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of people. It's amazing. We have a lot of people that email us or message us with really cool stories and things, and they're true. A lot of people we have a lot of people obviously from New York that have been around people, and they've got a lot of interesting stories. And then we have a large group out of the Boston area, that it's just really cool.
And just Larry said, is that James' wife in the pic? Forget about it. He must be making big bucks. He must be making big bucks. Ha. Just teasing. Love you, James.
No, so thank you.
So he gets a
we've
wrench
been
for
together 10 years.
10 years. Is there a radiator and cuffs involved in this relationship?
No. She's very good woman. I'm very blessed, and she's from Columbia. I used to live in Columbia for almost 10 years, and was working there. I met her and when I was working in Columbia, and we've been together ever since.
Okay, so DP Carmine, I gave you wrenches. So just about D Truth. How the hell did you get a wrench? You better behave, D Truth. I don't want American made. You're
Yeah, you
taking
gave
care
him
of.
a wrench in one of our several months back, I think.
We American made. We used some material of yours. Your last. What was that we did on him again, Angel? I told you, Angel.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can't remember, but American Made, you have really good content, and I can't remember now because all of his stuff's great, but we had definitely used it. I just can't remember what it was now.
And he gets really good numbers. I was looking at
Yeah,
his numbers. I'm talking 20, 30,000 on some of his
yeah.
videos.
Well, does
So,
good work. Yeah, I see
so
Wise
it's
Guy
obvious.
TV on here too, and he does good stuff too.
Poor Wise Guy TV got to be mad at me because I was speaking to somebody on the phone for a day and a half. I was texting and I thought it was Wise Guy TV and I had them all set up for the show. And Lee, you gave me a wrench to protect myself. D Truth, that's never going to protect you. You'll do something. Hey Lee, didn't realize shows have gotten better. Hey Eagle, it's not that it's better. It's that we're older, wiser, and smarter. And don't believe the facts that people do not want mob content or intelligent content. They do. That's what they want here. And that's why, and people are going to know that they're getting it. And hopefully every Friday we'll get more and more people.
Yeah.
Our last show a couple of days ago, we wound up with some really great numbers. And it looks like
Yeah.
this one's going to do pretty well because we
Yeah,
stayed
no,
on
this
for
is
almost.
great. I wasn't expecting this many people. This is really good.
Yeah. I'm sorry, American Made. I can't. What video was that I used of yours? It was the way you broke that down. It was John A. Light, I think, wasn't it?
I think it might have been something on A-Light and going after Sammy. I can't. God,
Yes,
I can't
believe
remember.
that's it. Yeah, I believe that
Yeah.
was it. Okay. See, we we
Hey,
we do
down
three
there.
videos. You know, Tyler says contrast between Lee, New York, and James Southern is perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Well, we got a lot of wrenches out there tonight, guys. I appreciate it. Maureen, do
Yeah.
you have a wrench?
She
Marky
should.
Mark,
Marky Mark.
$20.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marky Mark. I appreciate it. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, very nice.
We had a late flow of cash. I like that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I stayed up here and talked to him a little bit more and made like 60 extra bucks. So I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it, and thank you.
Okay, Maureen, you are wrenched. D Truth said, Lee, she needs a wrench right away.
Yeah,
But I think D Truth has a personality disorder because he could be a great guy, then all of a sudden he gets all strange. So let's hope that he keeps his where he is. Behave. Hey, people, thank you all so much.
Yeah.
Please, if you have not subscribed, please hit the like on this. I don't even know how many likes we have on this video. Let me check before we leave. We have
I hadn't even hit the like button.
105 likes. Thank you. We'll get that up too. Okay. But thank you to everybody. You guys are great. Is there anything you'd like to say to people before we leave, James?
Yeah, just no, thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to these Friday lives. We'll definitely provide, get good guests, a lot of stuff that I think everyone will enjoy. But at 9:00 Eastern, so in 15 minutes, Angel Gotti will be having her show, and she'll be talking about her nephew and Floyd Mayweather. So the rematch.
And listen, guys, we have new people here that's not over with Angel. If you go over to Angel's
Yeah.
show, sub to it because it's a very good show. It's the second best show on here. It can never be number one. Okay. Sorry, Angel. This just ain't gonna happen. It's gonna take you a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But take care, people. It's been great. Oh, thank you for the Cash App, Real Deal. I appreciate it. You guys have been great
Yes,
tonight.
thank
Thank you
you.
all so much. Take care.